Good day, everyone. My name is Alicia Chua, an associate from the Dispute Resolution Department of Halim Hong and Quack. I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Lam Man Chan, our partner from the Dispute Resolution Department.
Hello, everyone.
Now, Mr. Lam, our sharing today is in relation to the temporary measures for reducing the impact of coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 Act 2020, which was gazetted on the 23rd of October 2020. Let's refer it to as the COVID-19 Act. Before we begin, can you give us a brief idea on the purpose and effect of the COVID-19 Act?
Okay, the COVID-19 Act is passed with the aim to cushion the impact resulted from the pandemic by making necessary modification to various laws in Malaysia. Pursuant to Section 1 of the COVID-19 Act, it shall be in operation for 2 years from 23rd of October, but it can be extended by the Prime Minister.
Now, can you share with us what are the temporary measures introduced in the COVID-19 Act?
Okay, my sharing today will focus on 4 areas, namely the limitation period under the Limitation Act 1953 and Public Authorities Protection Act 1948, the minimum debt threshold for the presentation of bankruptcy petition under Insolvency Act 1967, the exclusion of rental recoverable under the Distress Act 1951, and last but not least, the exclusion period under the Industrial Relations Act 1967.
Good to know that. Now, let's look into the first area of the sharing today, the temporary measures introduced in the COVID-19 Act to modify the Limitation Act 1953 as well as the Public Authorities Protection Act 1948. What are the modifications enacted therein and how will they affect us?
Okay, for instances, Section 6 of the Limitation Act 1953 requires legal actions founded upon contract or tort and enforcement of a recognizance or award to be brought within 6 years from the date on which the cause of action accrued. As for legal actions upon a judgment by the court, there is a limitation period of 12 years. For the purpose of calculation of the limitation period, the COVID-19 Act has provided that if the limitation period falls on the date between 18 March 2020, which is the first day of our movement control order, until 31st of August 2020, our National Day, the limitation period shall be extended to the 31st of December 2020. Notably, these provisions are meant to be retrospective in nature as they are deemed to have come into operation from 18th of March until 31st of December 2020. Said modification is applicable to Section 2A of the Public Authorities Protection Act, which provides for a 3 years limitation period to bring an action against any person for any act or omission in pursuance to any written law or public duty. Further, it is similarly applicable to certain scenarios encompassed under the Sabah and Sarawak's Limitation Ordinance.
Now, let's move forward to the temporary measures introduced in the insolvency realm. Can you explain what are the modifications introduced to modify the Insolvency Act 1967 and also their impact?
Okay, under Section 5 of the Insolvency Act 1967, a creditor shall not be entitled to present a bankruptcy petition against a debtor unless the debt owing by the debtor to the petitioning creditor, or if 2 or more creditors join in the petition, the aggregate amount of debts owing to the several petitioning creditors amounts to at least 50,000 ringgit. In short, the minimum debt threshold to initiate bankruptcy proceedings against an individual is 50,000 ringgit. It is noteworthy that the Insolvency Amendment Act 2020, which was gazetted on 22nd of October 2020, just one day before the gazette of the COVID-19 Act, also introduced similar modifications as provided under Section 20 of the COVID-19 Act, whereby the minimum debt threshold for the presentation of a bankruptcy petition is now increased to 100,000 ringgit. As opposed to the Insolvency Amendment Act 2020, which appears to be permanent in nature, the modifications introduced by the COVID-19 Act is temporary when it only comes into operation on 23rd October until 31st of August 2021. By all means, the Minister of Law may extend the operation of this modification when the COVID-19 Act is still in operation. However, in view of an overriding provisions in the COVID-19 Act which allows it to prevail over any other conflicting and inconsistent law, it would appear that the Minister of Law may not be able to exercise his right to vary the minimum debt threshold pursuant to the Insolvency Amendment Act 2020, while the insolvency-related provisions in the COVID-19 Act remains in force. Last but not least, This increased amount of indebtedness is not applicable to any proceedings and actions which are still pending immediately before 23rd of October 2020 and shall be dealt with as if the Insolvency Act 1967 had not been modified by this COVID-19 Act.
Thank you for the informative sharing on insolvency. Can you further share with us the modifications introduced in the COVID-19 Act in terms of the Distress Act 1951?
Okay, Section 5 of the Distress Act gives a landlord the right to apply ex parte to a judge or registrar for a warrant of distress to distrain, which is to seize the property of the tenant at the relevant premise in order to recover outstanding rental of not more than 12 months. However, Section 30 of the COVID-19 Act stipulates that a warrant of distress issued under subsection 5(1) shall not include the distraint for the outstanding rental for a period from 18th of March until 31st of August 2020. Notably, this modification is deemed to have come into operation on 18th of March 2020 and shall continue to remain in operation until 31st of December 2020. But it would not affect the execution of any warrant of distress which has been issued before 23rd of October, and it shall be dealt with as if the Distress Act had not been modified by this Act. From now until 31st of December 2020, a landlord may still initiate distress action against his tenant, but he would have to exclude the claim of outstanding rental from 18th of March to 31st of August, which amounts to approximately 167 days.
Now, moving on to the last area of our sharing today, can you explain to us what are the modifications introduced to the Industrial Relations Act 1967?
Okay, Section 40 of the COVID Act provides that the period from 18 March to 9 of June shall be excluded from the calculation of the period under the Industrial Relations Act 1967, whereby according recognition or notifying the trade union of workmen concerned in writing the grounds for not according recognition under subsection 9(3), the making of a report in writing to the Director General for Industry Relation under subsection 9(4), as well as the filing of representation under subsection 21A. This part is deemed to have come into operation on 18th of March 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Lam, for the enlightening sharing. With that, we conclude the sharing for today. Thank you.
Thank you.